and he has gone on to have a career with KPMG, and also he sits on the board of certain organizations, and it's really a huge honor to sit down here and listen to him today. And I know that I'm going to be blessed, and I'm sure that you're also going to be blessed, and our lives are going to receive a more tangible direction as a result of this contact. So please can we put our hands together as yes. We also welcome the sugar in our guest tea. Yes, they said the women at the end of the house and the men at the end of the house, the women at the necks. We turn them to wherever. So the neck. Thank you so much for blessing us with the present. And thank you so much too for being here with us. Yes, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you very much for that introduction. Yeah, I think she was right there. She mentioned all the things I've done. To be honest, I wouldn't have been able to cope without the support of my wife. She's made it a lot easier. She's bear the grunt of some of these my late nights and trying to do a lot. So kudos to her. It's an honor. I've got my daughter here. It's an honor to do this. I think before we start, I'll just kind of briefly say a quick prayer. Oh Lord, everlasting Father, thank you for this opportunity. Everlasting Father, as brought me here today, come and speak through you, Lord. Everlasting Father, come and inspire me, here. We give us your name, Lord. In Jesus' name, thank you, Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Okay. So I think I do lecture as well part time. I like things to be interactive, so I don't just like to kind of stand and just kind of talk without people coming back. So feel free to make the session interactive. Feel free to interject and ask questions. Let it be a dynamic session. There's no point in just kind of standing there and just talking. I'm here to learn as well. As the doctor said earlier, it's absolutely true. The more you learn, the more you realize, wow, I didn't know that existed. The more you know, you don't know. So let it be interactive. We've got 1 hour. So what I would like to do is to maybe use the first 30 minutes to kind of, when I was asked to do this talk, I sat down. I've done a few of these. I'm sure you have guessed. I've done a few of these over the years. But with each year that goes by, you learn new things, you look back, you reflect. So when I was asked to do this, I reflected and I was okay, what else can I kind of bring to this session? And I kind of looked at it and came up with this mnemonic. I've called it the seven P's. So forgive me if I kind of patched a few P's, just to kind of make it sound good. So I called it the 7 P's. But all the same, I would like to start with an introduction about myself. So I'm originally come from Nigeria. I'm British now, but I'm still in Nigeria. I came to this country I think 20 years ago now. So I came straight from NYC. I studied at the University of Lagos, and then came to the UK. They call it Japan now, if you're in Nigeria. There was nothing like that then. I didn't come to Japan. I just came here. I wanted to study, go back and work in Shell or Mobil or something, get a master's and go back. So when I came here, I studied at the University of Leeds. I got a master's in engineering at the University of Leeds. But before I finished, I got a job and things like that. And things just kind of moved on from there. Before I know it, it's 20 years, But we give God the glory at times. So currently, I'm currently an associate director at KPMG UK. Within the deal advisory unit of KPMG. So I advise organizations, boards, leaders of company, government in relation to things to do with their finance, projects, engineering, anything to do with finance and projects. I've been with KPMG for 25 years now. But before then, I held senior positions at other organizations in the UK, various organizations, 50, 100 and 250 companies in the UK. So I've done lots of interviews. I've also had lots of rejections. So I'll be kind of mentioning some of those. So we shouldn't be discouraged by kind of rejections or not being able to right now. It's just a learning. Learning. It's part of the whole experience. In addition to being an associate director at KPMG, I also sit on the board of Power Group, which is one of the leading housing companies in the UK, and I'm also part of the office assurance and risk management organization. Before then, I sat on another board. I've also been a lecturer. I think when I finished my PhD, I was working as a consultant before then I finished my PhD, then I thought I could save the world, I just resigned, then moved into lecturing in order to kind of develop myself and talk about it. So I was a full-time lecturer for about 2 years at Aston University in Birmingham. But I've always been in academia. When I left, when I resigned, they wouldn't allow me to leave. They were shocked. They were like, no, you can't go. I'm like, I've got a job in the bank. I had to go. They were like, no, we can't go. So they were like, okay, stay. Choose a day, you will still be carrying out delivering your lecture. We will still pay you, you still have your office. I was like, I can only do Friday evenings. Oh yeah, thank God, yeah, you just do it. So I've remained in academia ever since, and I also kind of do academia work at the University of Warren, as Pastor David said earlier. So in terms of my education and training, this is always one of the awkward ones because it's something I've done, and a lot of people kind of find it weird that I've done all this. I plan most of it, to be fair, which I will come to later. But a lot of these things are kind of means to an end. I've always had this vision of kind of working for an organization and getting to the top. Obviously, I come here as someone that has not achieved everything I plan to, so I'm still learning, I'm still striving on the job, but obviously I can use some of the experiences I've gained along the way. So, in terms of my educational background and training, I've got an eclectic educational background, very diverse educational background, so I'm qualified in the area of infrastructure, engineering, business, finance, management, and kind of law as well. So I'm first and foremost an engineer, as you can guess. So I started off at the University of Lagos in the built infrastructure civil engineering area. Following my graduation from the University of Lagos, as I needed to learn, I came to the UK to study, and I obtained a Master's of Engineering degree at the University of Leeds. So for a number of years, I worked in the area of civil engineering, building projects, being project supervisor, project manager. Then something dawned on me some years back in terms of where I wanted to be as someone. Then I moved, I completed a PhD as well. I got a PhD. Then following that, got an MBA from the University of Warwick as well. So in terms of professional qualification, I'm chartered in a number of areas. So I'm a chartered accountant, as well as chartered engineer, as well as a chartered construction project manager. I have kind of published in leading academic journals. I've published my lots of research work and things I've done, likes of International Journal of Management and Engineering, International Journal of Project Management, Project Management Organization. I've also recently published a book, so this book, Project Control and Best Practices. I'm going to read one out today. So Project Control Methods and Best Practices published by Business Expert Press, distributed to 169 countries and 39,000 resellers around the world. So that's the book. So that's just that's a bit about me in terms of an introduction perspective. So I've got nearly 20 years professional experience, and I've seen a lot of things, but it's all been positive. It's all been positive. In terms of talking about how I got to where I am today, as I said, I kind of sat back, reflected, and my thinking is I've approached my career using what I've called the 7 P's. So I will expand on this later. The first one is the first P is point of focus. Then there's planning. Then the third one is proactiveness, proactive attitude. Then the other is productivity of talent. Then possibilities. Then the penultimate one is preparedness, preparedness. Then the 7th one is being a Christian, is prayer. You know, you don't seek God in all you do. It's prayer. So let me start with the first P, which is about focus. When I mean focus, most people will immediately think it's about kind of focus on your goal. That's part of it. But most of us being immigrants in this country, coming from a foreign country, coming to a country like the United Kingdom, I think over the years, one of the things I found is a lot of my peers, when we came together way back in 2002, most of them that kind of found it challenging to kind of succeed in the country. The first thing I noticed in those early years, I wish I attended, for your information, I wish I attended something like this way back. So this would have been very useful for me. Some of these things I'm saying that I've kind of traveled into them, kind of reflected, so it's good to attend this session. I hope you learn a lot. In those early years, most of my peers, friends, and network that found it challenging to kind of find a job or settle in the country. I think one thing, there's a common thing that kind of ran through them, and the common thing is about they didn't focus on actually living in this country. I think that's the first thing I would say. I think you are in this country, you've come to this country, you want to achieve in this country, focus on your country, on the country you are currently living in. Don't be dog-minded. I think it's James 1, verse 8, that says, do not be dog-minded. Okay, a number of them were like, oh, I'm here, maybe in 2 years, I'll go back to Nigeria. So they weren't really here, they weren't in Nigeria. So they couldn't really focus on the country, they couldn't really soak in the country, they didn't really kind of put in all the effort in order to achieve what they wanted to achieve in the country. If you want to be in Nigeria, be in Nigeria. If you want to be here, be here. But if your vision is you want to be here and go back to Nigeria to achieve things, then whilst you are here, focus on the country. You know, focus, and by focusing on the country, there are a number of things you can do. You know, I'm not saying you should lose your culture. You should kind of join worldly things that is done here, but you need to understand the politics of the country. You know, try to kind of understand what's happening in the country, what's the politics like. This will help you in your career, in your network, in your current job, when you attend interviews. You know, you'll be able to kind of bring up topics or talk to them confidently about issues going on in the country. You know, understand the economy of the country, what makes the country tick, you know, what makes the country tick. Understand what is frowned upon in the country, what are the little cues. You know, there are a number of things that I noticed when I came here in terms of, you know, you can't do this, you can't really dress this way, you can't keep your hair a certain way. You know, there are a number of cues, a number of cultural things we got from Nigeria, but if you don't kind of soak in the country, you will lose it. You know, you have to have a great EQ, emotional intelligence about the country you are, to understand those little cues. As I alluded to earlier, these things will serve you well when you are being interviewed, even when you get a job. It will make you progress in your career. I'm not saying go drink out with them or do the worldly things, but understand what makes them, understand their cues. Even if you set up a business, you will be able to progress in your business and enterprise. So, obviously, that's about focusing on this country, but you've got to focus on your own dreams as well. You know, that's the other aspect of focus. You have to have your own dream, have your vision. You know, if your vision is to stay in this country, get to the very top, that's fine. If your vision is stay in this country for a while, make some money, go back to Nigeria or wherever, you've got to focus on that as well and have a vision. But my point of focus here is about you are in this country. A number of people exist in this country, they don't live in the country because they are constantly thinking about what's happening in Nigeria. So for example, if I remember my current job at KPMG, you know, I'm trying to kind of develop a kind of new business training for the company based on something I've heard about the politics of the country. So I'm just going to, as I said, I like my sessions to be interactive. I like politics, I like economics, and things like that. So for someone to get this book, I'm going to give you the book again. So who kind of understands the current policy of the labor of the opposition in relation to energy? The latest policy of the opposition in relation to energy. Obviously, we've got a cost of living crisis in the country. We've got energy crisis. That's an opportunity if you're working in an area, you're working in consulting, or you want to set a business. You know, you need to know what's coming. The Labour government probably will win the next election based on what's happening. But who can tell me what the current opposition policy is in relation to energy? Tell me, my sister.
Well, I wouldn't say the current policy. I would say the direction to which they are tending. That's what I know that as at the last meeting they had, the far right people.
They're not far right.
Yeah, sorry, forgive me. The right people, the conservatives. There was a statement that actually caught my attention where the chairman or somebody in top government there said, whoever is having cost of living crisis at the moment should pick up more jobs, like the jobs on the streets or available. So that really caused some kind of controversy towards the, although there are some steps and strategies in place to tend to want to make things better, but at the end of the day, it looks like the body language is towards the fact that some things have come to stay, and that's fine.
Yeah. But in terms of the Labour Party, brother?
Okay. Is that? Okay, so based on what I know that when the Conservatives talked about, the 100 billion fund, Labour is always socially inclined, and they do not like the fact that people have to pay high electricity bill. And I know, I'm trying to remember the head of the Labour Party, and talked about not being a dime for when it comes to electricity bill, increasing taxes on the company to ensure that the money realized from taxes will then close that energy bill. I also know that Labour is non-nuclear inclined, that is, they are going to phase out nuclear energy and the likes, and so those are my things.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give up. You want to say something? They want to focus on green energy. I think you're getting there. Yeah. I think you're the closest. I think the current policy of the government and the opposition party in relation to energy is the one focusing on green energy and renewables. Their current policy to get in power is to set up a new organization called United Kingdom Energy Company. So energy, which will focus on green energy. And that's an opportunity. So for example, I'm consulting the advice of the companies in energy. We are already thinking of some of those things. I'm already kind of having conversations about. So that's an example of what I'm saying, that you should be tuned in to your country. Especially if you are a consultant, your organizations rely on you, your clients rely on you. You should live in your current country, understand the country, know what's going on, and use it to the advantage, to adapt it and bring it into any conversation you have. That's just one easy example, quick example of something that happened in the last 2-3 weeks that I've done. Yeah. Okay, I think I'll give it to you actually. What's your name? So the second P is in relation to planning.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you talked about your point of focus, I've noticed something among young people like me when we get to the UK. We have that focus. So the question is, so when you come in and suddenly I think my voice is louder. And suddenly your focus changes to the bills part of things.
To what?
Bills, paying bills. And so many people have seen them to, I just make money for your bag, right? So how do you keep that focus in a country, like you said, we should know the country we're in. Even students, you see them work more than 20 hours because, again, probably they also have bills, school fees to pay, housing prices, like you said, is high. How do we keep our focus in a country where it seems like the economy is is shaky, so it seems like it's against you because, if it's Nigeria, you know how to navigate your way and things to do. But now you're living in a country where the bills are coming in thick and fast. And so even if you have the focus that I'm going to pursue my career and the life, you just don't have, it just seems like you have no choice, but to just focus on doing whether it's care jobs or the factory jobs and do like 24 hours, 12 hours a day. And so how do we retain focus in this country?
Is the next P. So okay. You've preempted what I'm going to say in terms of planning. Obviously, we're not robots. We are not robots. We are not machines. In my book, I wrote something about. So I'm going to talk about it in planning. So in my book, I wrote something about planning. I wrote that your plan, is the future desire that you have. Your future desire is the past plan that you have, and it's a Prussian military in the 19th century. There was a Prussian military leader that says, "No plan survives first contact with the enemy." You've got to be able to adapt. Okay, with all machines, you have a plan. It doesn't mean your plan will go perfectly as you envisioned it. There will be things that happen, but what matters is your overall vision, which is my second P. So the second P is planning. So when I mean planning, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So you need to set yourself short-term plans, medium-term plans, and long-term plans. Can someone tell me, I've not been trying to be a lecturer here, I just want to get some introduction. Can someone tell me which is the most important? Is it the short-term plan, the medium-term plan, or the long-term plan that is the most important?
None of them. For long-term.
This is when I say why. So why is that?
Everything gets you to a stage.
So because the long time will influence even the short time.
Thank you very much. So I'll come to that later. So you need to. I wish I had someone tell me that you need to set a plan. I got to know it maybe 5 years after being in this country. So let me start on this for time. So you need to set yourself short-term plan, medium-term plan, and long-term plan. However, the first thing you need to do is to set yourself that long-term goal. You need to first of all set yourself, okay, where do I want to be? But your plan has got to be smart. Anybody know what we mean by smart plans? What's that? You know, it's got to be specific, measurable, attainable, and time bound. So the one I want to capitalize on here is time bound. There's no point setting the plan that in 30 years time I want to do that. So from a long-term perspective, and this is just my opinion, and majority of commentators out there kind of agree with. Every 10 years, set yourself a 10-year plan. That's a long-term plan. You know, okay, in 10 years' time, where do I see myself? Where do I want to be in 10 years? You know, by God's grace. You know, where do I want to be in 10 years? Set yourself a 10-year plan. Then from that 10-year plan, look at some of the plans you've got. Use that to set yourself a medium-term plan, like a 5-year plan. Then you need to set yourself yearly plans. You need to have yearly plans. Okay, for this year, what am I going to be? What am I going to do? Because your long-term plan and your medium-term plan, in terms of your career, in terms of, okay, do I want to get on the board of a company in 10 years? You know, do I want to be a director in 10 years' time? Do I want to be a senior manager in 10 years? That plan will influence what you will do in the long term, in the medium term, and in the short term. So if you know you need to get a certification in order to get to this place, you can put that in your yearly plan. For this year, for the next couple of years, this is what you want to do. If you know I need to be a chartered accountant in order to, I'm just looking for experience. As I said, I was in engineering for a while, and guess one of the industries that kind of brings lots of money and very lucrative in the UK is finance. So being an engineer, I did an MBA, and I got to the MBA, and I met so many people working in KPMG, investment banks, and we engineers, we do lots of DYDX. We do lots of calculations, and I was like, and they were earning so much. They were earning outrageous amounts to me then. I was like, and when we were doing the maths, the MBA maths, most of them would come to me to explain maths to them, and they were earning more than me. I was like, no, this can't happen. This can't happen. In 3-4 years' time, by the time I complete the executive MBA, I want to be in finance and banking. So I added that to my plan. So what do I need to do? I need to do the accounting exams. These exams are easy. They're not like what we did. So I need to do, I need to do an accounting exam. So I finished the MBA. People were looking at me. I was still an engineering. I was promoted to, and I was like, you guys think you're earning money? Look at what people are earning in finance. So I was like, that's my plan is not to stay in engineering. My plan is to move into the finance area, work in carrying off and things like that. So I was like, but in order to do that, I can't just go and apply for that and do that. I had to. That was my long-term plan. I had to do some things in advance, and I had to kind of register, start my accountancy exams. As part of that contract, it's not just about you working or passing your certification. You have to have experience. So I'm going to touch on that later. You have to be proactive. I was proactive at my workplace. I was like, I want to move. I want to do some financial stuff. To get some finance experience. So internally, I started taking on additional responsibility in that regard. So what I'm saying is, you have to have a plan, and your long-term plan, will affect your medium-term plans, and your short-term plan. So you have to do that. And my brother, in terms of things that happen, things happen. But as long as you have that long-term plan, your plan there might be a recession that might mean you can't get the job you want to do. There might you might be short of money or something. But as long as you have your long-term plan, any kind of small things that happens. So in business, in the NBA, we call it, as long as you have a strategy, anything that happens are tactical. Your tactical issues should not affect your long-term strategy as an organization and in this regard as a person. So that's the kind of answer to that question. But I need to kind of, I need to kind of say something here. Planning. Obviously, I'm here talking to you about career, but you need to plan about your family as well. Our plans should be wholesome plans. They shouldn't just be planning about our career. Even though you see me as very kind of career focused, I'm a very family-oriented person. Very family-oriented. We all want to be wholesome people, so your plan should be wholesome. It should include planning for your career, planning for your spiritual development, and planning for your personal and family development as well. So, for example, if you want to send your child to a private independent school, when your child gets to 11, secondary school, I'm not sure most of you understand how expensive they are in this country. Most of them are more expensive than a postgraduate master's tuition for international students. But in order to send your child to that, you need to start planning. Okay, do I need to get a job that will allow me to pay for that? Or if you want your child to go to a kind of local, outstanding, upstate-rated school, those schools don't exist in just any area. Okay, where are you living now? Are those schools present? Okay, how old is your child? In a few years' time, my child will be this. Do I need to move to this location that's got this outstanding, upstate-rated school? And in order to move there, houses there are not cheap. So that kind of fits your career as well. Then that means I have to change the current job I'm doing. I have to find. So your plan should be wholesome. It should be an integrated plan that kind of takes account of everything, not just your career, but as well your spiritual development, personal development as well. But be wary of planning only. Just a word of caution: be wary of planning only with your mouth. I've met lots of people, that use planning or what they plan to do as bragging rights. I rarely tell people what I'm doing. I'm not asking you to be secretive or, but don't kind of say, I'm planning to do this and use it as a bragging right. Lots of people plan with their mouth, they never action it. It's not about just planning and not doing anything and telling anybody, oh, next year I'm going to do an MBA, or next year I'm going to do this. I've met a lot of people that plan with their mouth, but they actually never achieve everything. So, tell people your plan, but make sure you're telling people your plan for a reason. For advice, for mentorship, for networking, for support, but not just to kind of use it to oppress people. You say, I want to do this. It doesn't concern me. Tell me when you've done it. I only tell people my plans when I've nearly achieved it, when I'm fine to it. Obviously, sometimes I don't want to do things and just come as a surprise. So, for example, when I published my book at KPMG, I was doing it. It's been something I've been doing for years. A few people know that were kind of advising me about it at work, but I didn't kind of publicize to everybody at KPMG. I'm writing a book. I'm doing this. I was chipping away at it for years. Doing it. But obviously, I don't just want them to see it released. People surprised. They will be happy. Why? So I told the leadership, there were lots of social media about my book. Some people know about it. But before the social media publicity, I wanted you to know about it. Just have a copy, have a read, and they were all happy. So there is a way to approach these things. Don't be secretive, but don't use plans as a bragging right. Okay, use it. If you share, use it to share with people that will mentor you, that will support you, and you get ideas from. And as I said, I just kind of ended there. Know that it's rare for your plan to go perfectly as you envision it. There will be ups and downs. It's the popular saying of this crucial military leader, Elmont and Moore, that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. There will be ups and downs, but don't be put off. You need to manage your plan with courage. You need to believe, and you need to be agile. And there won't just be downs. There will be opportunities as well. You might think something will take you 3 years to achieve. However, you might decide that because there's an opening or an opportunity in the organization, you can actually go for it. So there will be, your plans will be changed, exploit opportunities as well. And if there's any setback, face your setback with courage and believe that you still have this end goal in order to achieve that. So just an example, I said in about 5 years coming to this country, I did a 10-year plan for the first time. And I was surprised. I think I told my wife about this. I was surprised. I went back some years and I looked at that 10-year plan. You won't believe how accurate it was in terms of things I never envisaged. For example, I wanted to be on the board. I wanted to work in consulting. I wanted to finish an MBA, family stuff as well. I went back and I was reading. Obviously, there will be lots of stuff like I want to do politics or something that didn't come to pass. The reality setting, But I would say 95% of lots of stuff on that plan came to fruition. I was really, really shocked that, So if you have a plan, even though you don't look at it every day, to be in your subconscious, you'll be able, something will be pushing you and you'll be achieving this plan. So the next one is about, the third P is about proactiveness. It's about being proactive. And I think I kind of touched on this earlier. You need to be proactive in your career. So I've talked about one of the strategic things. So the next few things I'm going to be talking about are some of the actions you need to take, some of the kind of practical actions you need to take. So you need to be proactive about your career. And by being proactive, I mean, don't be reactive. Don't just sit there and be mediocre and just like, oh, I've achieved this, I've got this job, and just be there. Before you know it, it's 2 years. Okay, my wife knows this. When I get a job, by the time it's a year, I'm already like, oh, I'm already fed up, I'm already getting a bit bored. What's the next thing? I need to kind of do a bit more. I've mastered this job, I need to do a bit more. So when you get a job, you need to be proactive. When you've mastered it, if it takes you 2 years to master it, fair enough. But once you feel you've mastered your job, what's the next place you want to go? What's the next role? What's the next level you want to get to? So, and what do you want to do? Don't just look at that level and aim for it. You have to be proactive in that level. Look at the requirements for that role. Look at the skills you need for that role. Look at the qualifications you need for that role. So when I've mastered my job, I'm already looking at the next level. What are the attributes you need to demonstrate? What are the things you need to do? Are there additional certifications you need to do? Are there experiences you need to gain in your workplace in order to do that? So in order to do that, you could take up experiences, you could ask them to give you, to take on more responsibilities at your job. If those opportunities are not available internally, you could volunteer at church. There are so many opportunities at church in terms of things that you can actually put on the CV that you do at church, experiences you gain, you could be a member of the volunteer at church. That's already a leadership role. Or you could try and set up a company if there are no conditions or conflicts, restrictions at your workplace. You could set up a company in order to gain that experience. Okay, you want to be on the board, or have you volunteered at your local, at your children's kind of school as a governor or something like that? Do you do any activities at church? Take on a contract role and things like that. I think I manage a few people at I manage people at KPMG that report to me at KPMG. And with this, when I have we call them one-to-ones. When you have one-to-ones with people you manage, KPMG is full of kind of driven people. Everybody wants to be director, partner straight away. Everybody's driven. the conversations we always, most of the conversation we have relates to kind of promotion. You know, every time they come to me, okay, am I going to get promotion, the next round of promotion, you know. So, but my advice that I've learned, and that happens at consulting organizations like KPMG, is like, nobody will promote you in an elite organization except to the next level, except you've already demonstrated majority of the attributes and qualities of that next level. Because the organization doesn't want to fail. You know, you want to be a director, you don't even know, you don't even know how to prepare a budget, even if you studied history. You know, even if you studied history and your job is about looking at cultural things in a museum, if you want to get to that next level, guess what? You need to know how to prepare a budget on how to do that. You want to get to that next level, you've not started doing all those things. You don't understand them. You know, when you kind of ask or clamor for promotion, you know, they will put you down. You know? So you need to look at what's next. What's the next thing? What are the things that are required? And start learning those things. You know, and start getting the experiences, start getting the communications in order to do that. So you need to be proactive with your career. I think it's only I think Ray Davis is the one that said the challenge, you know, only becomes an obstacle when you come to it. So when there's a challenge in terms of where you want to get to, or the opportunities of the next thing, you need to be proactive at the time in order to get there. So the fourth one is productivity of talent. Productivity of talent. We all remember the parable of the talents in Matthew 5, verse 14 to 30. You know, the parable of the talents. Even Jesus, you know, if you got a talent and you kind of bury it, you know, it's frowned upon. You know. So we've all got talents. We've all got different talents. You need to leverage your talent. So if you have a talent, it's not just good for you to just use it. You know, you have to maximize it. Maximize it. Don't just kind of say, I have a talent and just use it. You know, drill into your talent. Use it. Let people know. Let it be productive. Use it for so many things. You know. So, for example, this is just an example for myself. You know, I've got a talent for passing exams easily. You know, I've got a talent for a book might be, you know, as big as this. You know, it doesn't put me off. You know, that's my talent. I just look at it. I feel excited. You know. So, and I write so many exams. I don't like to read. When I was in my executive, my wife, I used to read NDA. Like, yeah, I don't still read that one. I read, but I don't have to do too much because it's easy. You know? So I had a talent for passing exams easily, for going through big books quickly. So, and I've leveraged on my talent. You know, I realized this when I was at the University of Lagos. You know, when I was at Unilag, I don't share this a lot. It's not even on my CV. I've got an HND as well from Yakubu, but it's not on my CV. But when I was at Unilag, I was at Yakubu today. I was doing two things at the same time. I got admission to Yabatech, got admission to University of Lagos. I did the first semester for one before the other, and the results came out, and you know, I was on top of new classes. You know, I was like, okay. People were like, okay, you are in lag, you know, obviously you got to drop one now. I'm like, okay, maybe. Obviously I break stuff for one. Obviously I had to continue with lag, so I continued with the lag. Yabatech was there. Fortunately, there was a strike, 6 months strike, then in 1996 or something, people remember, there was some health issues in Nigeria, in Lagos, you know, there was a 6 months strike. I had nothing to do, and the exam for Yabatech, they had done most of the lectures. I just went and got the notes from my friends, but like, there's nothing to do, let me just be with my friends and do these exams. I got the notes, read the notes, you know, the results came out, I had A's, you know. So I was just like, okay, I've finished 1 year now. I mean, let me just, this thing is easy now, let me continue. So I think I kind of realized that. So I did both courses together, graduated at the same time, and I was on top of the classes. You know, so I'd realized that I had this knack for kind of being able to get through things easily, do things easily, and I leveraged it here. So whilst I was here, you know, I did my accounting exams. I tried one. I was going to do one. I first passed one of the levels. I was going to do one. Maybe take a break, do one. I thought it would take me like 2 or 3 years to finish everything. I finished everything in like a year plus. I did one. I passed it. Should I take a break? Let me just read it. I finished it. But I can do this exam. I did it. I passed it. I just continued. You know, so I leverage your time. I leverage mine. So you know, I've got qualifications in the area. I've been able to use my talent to navigate from engineering into finance, into business and leadership, and getting the necessary qualifications. And that's my talent. Being able to get qualifications. Some people have more than my talent. You know, some people were better at me in secondary school. You know, that had this talent, but they only got one degree. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just good. It's not just good to use your talent, exploit it to the maximum. Use your talent. That's what Jesus wants us to do.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Quick question. Scenario. You are good in strategy and consulting. I'll say strategy, right? And sometimes in this country, Nigerians are seen as loud. So you're confronted with people who already see you as the enemy, right? And so, despite the fact that you want to drill your talent, you are sitting at the table with your teammates and you're coming up with strategies and, you know, they are looking at you. So the question is, how do you, if you drill your talent to be the best that you are confronted with enemies. If you decide to keep quiet and be the little guy in the room, you know, they die there, the black guy is there. I'm just saying. So how do you navigate drilling your talent in a country where they will see you as loud or as an enemy, per se?
Yeah, I guess in terms of, Nigerians, you know, we've got this reputation for being loud. So I'm a very quiet person, you know. So naturally, in fact, I've had reviews where they said I've got to show my skills a lot more. So you've got to be humble. You know, I think one of the first things we've got to be able to do is be humble. But I'll tell you, if you've got an idea, say it. Don't be put off by people saying you're loud. Yeah. Obviously, don't be loud. Don't put people off. That's why I said you have to look for the cues in this country. You know, number one, you shouldn't jump in when someone is talking in this country. Someone is got you. You know, like you do in Nigeria, someone is talking, you can then jump in and talk and say, you know, it is frowned upon. They hate you. You know, once someone is talking, let them learn. If you feel they planted and kind of interject and they haven't been quick to apologize, oh, I'm sorry, I thought. You know, you need to understand the keys of this country in order to. But I wouldn't say because you have an idea, because you feel they spill you out. If you have an idea, you need to be loud, because most of the people when they have ideas, they go straight into what they want to say. So be loud. But one thing you need to be humble. Be humble with your idea. But if you have an idea, don't be shy to do it. That is what you get you to the next level. When I have an idea, I have something. Trust me, I say it in a very humble way. You know, I think, you know, I don't put people down. So a good example is when someone is putting an idea. One of the things I like to say is, you know, building on your point. You know, even though the point is rubbish, you know, I'm not going to say what you just said. It doesn't make sense. You know, I'm saying, oh, building on your point or to hard or just to caveat. You know, you do this. You know, you have to be humble with what you say. They will love you. They love me at my workplace. They love me at my workplace. They feel, even though I've got all these qualifications, they don't see me as a threat. They see me as someone that's there to contribute. You know, they say, when I have my reviews, the things that come out is so you have to be humble, but it doesn't mean when I have an idea or when someone is taking us in the wrong direction, you know, that I will talk. You know, you have to be able to know what you're doing. In terms of talent, it's not just about maximizing your talent. It's about developing your weaknesses. We are all not perfect. You know, we are not perfect people. You know, so we all have weaknesses. I've got weaknesses. You know, I've got weaknesses as well. But don't run away from your weaknesses. You have to develop your weaknesses as well. You know. So what I try to do is opportunities to develop that weakness, because that weakness might be something that will be useful for you. So as I said, I'm going to touch on this later. So I'm not sure, most of you might think I like talking in public because of the way I am and things I am. I'm a naturally shy person. I wouldn't say shy. I don't like attention. That's what I would say. I just kind of like to stay in my place. When I was at university, I tell my kids and my wife about this. They won't usually know about it until like year 2, year 3, and it's the results that we speak. Who is this guy? Because in class, I won't talk, I won't keep my hands up, But once they see the result, by the time we get to year 2, year 3, even I don't like attention. So, but I realize that in the workplace, in this country, you have to present. In order to get to the top, you have to challenge, you have to talk, you have to do this. I knew how to develop this in some way, somehow. So guess what I did, finished my MBA, I finished my PhD, I took up a lecturing role. I took up an opportunity, I applied for lots of lecturing, and one of the things was I just wanted, because the feedback when I was at Capital Real Estate, which was a consulting company, was you need to develop your presentation skills, I took up a lecturing role. As a lecturer, I had to speak to kind of mostly white children, white graduates, mostly international graduates from China, from anywhere. I had to present every time. In addition to that, I had to research, I had to speak at lots of international conferences, So it was counterintuitive. But I needed it in order to kind of develop that weakness or a deficiency I feel I need to have in order to get to the top and do lot of things in this country. So, but guess what? Within a couple of months, presenting, talking in public, facilitating and doing, it became so natural to me. And guess what? By the end of that year, I was awarded the Excellence in Teaching Award at Aston University. My first year, despite the fact that presenting, talking, and everything didn't come natural. I didn't like it. But I put in so much effort, I enjoyed it, I put in so much effort in something that I'm weak at in order to succeed at it. So you have to try and develop the weaknesses as well. Any weakness that you think you've got, or you think you need in order to get to the very top, you need to make sure that you develop it in order to get to the top. The fifth one is about possibilities. Believe nothing is impossible. You need to believe in a world of possibility in your career. Don't believe you can't get a job. I'm not sure how many people are students or how many people are at the early stage of their career. Set your goal, set your vision. You want to get to the top in your career, believe it's possible. Most people say this, maybe the country is biased against us and things like that. This country is great. To be honest, this country, there's kind of bias and racism here and there. But from a career perspective, most companies, what they want is they want to be successful. And they want people to make them successful. If you are good at what you do, you will get to the very top. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, as long as you know your stuff. So believe in possibilities. If you've got a job that you are targeting, or a role, or a company you are targeting, you need to believe it's possible. Don't be discouraged by rejection letters. I remember finishing my master's degree at least, trying to get a job. I'm sure we are all used to kind of these rejection letters. Don't be discouraged by I'm afraid. Unfortunately, don't be discouraged. You need to keep applying. Believe in that job. Believe in that job. Apply, learn from your interviews, mistake, put it to practice in the next one, keep applying. I tell people when people talk to me, when I'm mentoring people, I tell people, don't be discouraged, because there's always an employer out there that is suited to the skill set. your experience, the situation, and we see you as a perfect fit. It always happens. When you keep going, there will always be a regard. So I like the particular solution. You're not too far from what you want. You can do this. You want it. But if you stop and you give up, so the sixth one is about preparedness. You need to prepare. You need when you are going for these interviews, for this job or for any networking, you need to be prepared. If you want the next change, the next level, if you require the certification, you need to have it. There is no magic. If it requires some experiences, there's no magic. It's not anybody that is not accepted. You have to try and prepare for what you want. So for example, here in the UK, companies will employ someone that is a chartered accountant with no degree than someone that got a degree in accountancy but is not chartered. Likewise, project management. Companies will employ someone that's got Prince 2 or MSP program that hasn't got a degree in project management, rather than employ someone that's got the MSc in management. I'm not saying degrees are not important or things, it's just the fact that they need certain certifications. So if there are certifications you need in order to get to where you want to be, get them. But guess what? Companies actually prefer someone that's got it. So if you got the certification, yeah, all good. So you need to do that. The other one is about when you actually do these interviews. You need to try and prepare for the interviews. Try and understand the values of the company. It actually works. It works for me. Okay, you want to go attend an interview, try and understand what are their key values. Try and memorize some of their key values. And try and when you are answering questions, try and say, this kind of happens, which kind of fits in with one of the values and things like that. Companies are impressed. Try and understand the industry of the country. What are the particular challenges in that industry? Try and bring those insights to your interview. Is the interview going through a certain bad period? Try and understand. Don't just go to an interview and just go think they want to talk to you about your CV. It doesn't happen. I interview a lot at KPMG, but there's nothing disheartening than when you see a good candidate and at the start you say, so what attracts you to us? Tell us about that. Tell us what you know about the company. And they just waffle and they don't know anything about the company. And it sets you on the bad footing right from the start of the interview. So you need to be prepared for your interviews, understand the company, understand the industry. Is the industry going through some consolidation, or is the company issuing the right issue to raise money for something? When you learn about those and you bring those to the interview, they are already interested in you. So you need to do that. But then at the end of the interviews, I'm sure you know this, but just to kind of, for completeness, you need to ask a couple of good questions. Not kind of trick questions to show that, but number one, ask about what the job entail, what should you expect in the first few months of the job, then ask about whether they got what are the particular challenges they got that they think you can come and solve to them. Ask some very intelligent questions, but don't be too bold and ask some silly questions. It happened earlier this year when I interviewed the candidate. I was on the panel and I interviewed the candidate. And after the interview, he asked, so do you think I've performed well? So just like, even if you've performed well, we can't be telling you there's a process for these things, So we have to be very silly, very kind of not intelligent question. Guess what happened? Because we put people in work with clients, the decision we concluded was like, this is a bit of an awkward question. Even though we put him through the next stage, or we don't think this is suitable because you might be asking the clients awkward questions. So now we make sure now what happens. So ask questions, but don't be too cocky and ask some of those kind of questions trick people. So to round up, it's about praying. 7 is about praying. The Christian, at the believe in God. And what I want to kind of draw or drill home in this is we need to pray for God's vision and inspiration. It's not just about I want to do this, God please help me. Yeah, that's fine. But I found this easy. Once God puts something in your heart to say, I think you can do this, it's an inspiration. Ask for God's inspiration, for God's vision. So that once you have that, then you plan your remaining steps in order to achieve that. So a good example is, how God just put in my mind, I always knew I was going to do a PhD. I always knew I was going to do a PhD. But when I was in my fourth year of university, I had this vision about this topic that I wanted to do. And I submitted this topic to my supervisor then to say, this is the topic I want to do for my undergraduate project. And the man was like, what? You can't even finish this as part of the master's. This is a PhD topic. So and that topic is what eventually did my PhD. That topic kind of forms the book I'm writing. That topic is part of the area I'm leading, KPMG. So from that single vision, I've been able to do so much with that topic. So you need to pray for God's vision, obviously God's help in achieving whatever you want to do. So that's what I want to do. So just to summarize, I'll quote Matthew 7:7. It says, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks, receive. Everyone that seeks, find. And everyone that knocks, and it shall be opened. So God is always at this. We always have to pray and ask for God. So as I said, I like my mnemonic. So my approach, has been the 7 P's. Point of focus. Focus on the national location. Do not be double-minded. Focus on your dreams. Focus on your goals. Planning. Have a vision. Plan how you get there. First, develop your long-term plan, medium-term plan, then your yearly plan to take you to that vision. Proactiveness. Having a proactive attitude. Take the initiative with the experience you need and the skills required to take your career to the next level. The fourth one is productivity of your talents and strengths. And don't forget to work on your weaknesses. Then the fifth one is possibilities. Possibilities is what we get when we're determined. Don't put off. Nothing is impossible. You can get there. Apply. Work for it. Get what you need. You can get there. It's absolutely possible. Okay, nothing is impossible. The sixth one is preparation. Preparation is important. Get internal experiences. Prepare for your interviews. Understand the industry. Understand the company. Prepare. If it doesn't work, prepare. Don't lose focus. And the fifth one, pray for God's inspiration, vision, Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Very short story. When I was in school, there was this particular lecturer that before you enter into his posting or his rotation, you have to go and say, hello, my name is this, I am this, and I've come specifically to learn from to tap from your fountain of knowledge. And I was sitting down there and I was thinking to myself that this is the real fountain of knowledge. Thank you so much for being so Yes, so we're going to be taking a few questions, question and answer session. And I know that a lot of us have a couple of questions we want to ask, but because of time, we're going to limit it to 3 questions. So please, if you have a question that you would want to ask, can I? Okay, fastest fingers first. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. So, okay, I can see your yellow hands, but I can't see your face. So I'll start with the brother in front.
First I can actually resonate with a couple of things you mentioned, seeing from the fact that I started off in a different discipline and I'm doing something different completely. And my friends are someone that likes money business, right? So it made me I mean, I have a degree in geography, I have a master's in geography, right? But because of loss of finance, I trained as a chartered accountant. So I decided to, I sat down while I was thinking that, okay, accountancy, what next? I felt empty. So I felt maybe if I do the master's in economics, if I have to balance that ratio. I finished the master's. I felt empty. Now I'm going somewhere. And while I was doing the master's, I sat down one day and I said, I think what I actually need is probably do an MBA. And why did I say that? I've got the habit for me, right? I was opportune to sit in a couple of meetings, mention for the deal advisory, this and all of those things. I did an internship here, I saw a lot of experience. And one thing that is confusing to me now is, do I actually need to do ACCA? Because it's as though, when I see vacancies here, they talk about this thing called eye training in Nigeria. I'm here in the UK. Is it really important? Is it really necessary? Because when I did my internship, most of the things that worked out for me was my skills. The director in there something, they said, out, this, out. But it's almost as though if they don't see this qualification, they don't go, you know, and I'm like, ACCA again, same thing, or MBA, or what, you know?
Yeah, the answer to that is, well, what's your end goal? What's your vision? I think where do you want to get to? What's driving you to do that? So you need to kind of think about where you want to be. You know, think about that vision. You actually need an MBA. If you've done this, you feel empty. You know, are you doing it because you are being reactive, or are you doing it because you feel you want to achieve this? Are those things necessary in order to get there? So I think we might have this conversation. Maybe we can catch up later. But I think you need to kind of apply what's your end goal, what are the things that are required. You know, my older sister came from the she had, I tell people, you know, it's good to have an ACCA, but that doesn't stop you from getting an accountancy. You have to kind of have. It doesn't stop you from getting an accountancy when you are a chartered accountant. Put it there and you qualified accountant. If you want to do ACCA later, you can do, but don't have it in your mind that because you haven't got ACCA. You know, I have people at KPMG that qualified from Australia, New Zealand, in Canada. We don't kind of discriminate and say because you haven't got this. You know, you're a chartered accountant, you're a chartered accountant. Put it there, and you are a qualified accountant, and this is what you do. You don't need to try as long as you have the skills.
I guess you catch up with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know it's not a testimony, but I was blind, now I see. It's not kind of.
Okay. So my question is, for some of us that are currently doing something that we don't want to do, we have where we want to go, and we know where we want to do to get there. But in the meantime, we're doing things that don't necessarily relate to the end goal. So when now trying to build a career in that particular industry, what happens to that period of time when we're doing something we're not supposed to do? Do we take it out completely from our CVs? Or, and yes, if we can take it off, how do we fill in that gap so that it doesn't look like, oh, that period we're not doing anything?
Yeah, that's a conundrum. That's always challenging. So what I would say, when you feel you're not doing what you need to do, you know, you should still be doing something to get you there. Maybe some training, or even within your current place of work, you can still take on some responsibilities in order to kind of do some of the things. And if any of those things don't happen, you don't have to, because there's nothing employers hate more than the gap in your CV. I'm not explaining that in this. You still have to put in there and to be a good conversation to say, I was planning to present one thing to this is what, don't just kind of leave it or feel it that incorrect information or something that will treat you on the future. Put it there, try to sieve out relevant things. You do advise people at their management to are there things that are kind of slightly relevant to what you do. Have the company there, have it there. When you're called for your ideal employer will call you, and it will be a good conversation to explain to you. This period, this is what I'm doing, I'm trying to get there, but these are the things I've learned, these are the things I've learned. We call things competency-based interview. When I'm asking for competency-based interviews, I ask them, from your past experience or anything you have done, demonstrate that you got this, and this one, and we ask you to use the STAR framework. So the STAR framework is where you have the situation, the challenge, and how you apply it. The STAR framework to answer and use your situation to answer that question. So any experience is not necessary. You should make the best of it.
Sorry.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. I have two in one question. I'll be clear about it. Yeah. For me, I think I studied civil engineering just like you, and I was practicing in Nigeria before coming to UK, and I noticed some couples of interview, and some of the way point was, okay, we need UK experience, we need this qualification, certification. Even after getting the certification, you are told, okay, we want to employ people that have UK experience or they are British. So how can I actually have a breakthrough in that? And secondly, I went to your profile on LinkedIn. Please, I sent you a request.
And I'm very quick with my request. Where was that today?
Right now.
I like to build my network.
Yeah.
So I'm not someone that is proud to accept it. And if someone wants to join me, I accept. So, yeah,
so my name is Mike, I'm just So I hope that the relationship between me on this platform. So how can you use LinkedIn in this country to build your career?
That's a good question. No, I'm very, don't worry, I'll check this even from India, from anywhere, because there's no point. So your first question about, was about experience.
Experience,
Yeah, it's always a challenge. But guess what, once you get that experience, the sky is not only the limit, it's not cheap path. You drive, you get to where you want to be. But in terms of getting your experience, as I said, you have to keep trying. There will be a company out there that wants you. But don't forget contract roles. Those are short-term roles. It could be a 1-month role. Those people are really desperate and need people that have the skills to come and fill the gap, to plug a hole in their organization. So don't just kind of look for permanent roles and things like that alone. Look for contract roles. Register with agencies that can supply contracts. If you got the skills, you can demonstrate skills. Then train as well with qualifications and things. And try contract roles as well. In terms of how to use LinkedIn to network, it's fantastic, to be honest. Get your LinkedIn updated. The first thing employers look at for recruitment agencies when they ring you up is to search your LinkedIn. Make sure your LinkedIn is congruent with your CV. Don't have something else on your CV, something else on your LinkedIn, which I don't. Make sure they are all saying the same thing. And use LinkedIn to network, use LinkedIn to make good comments, intelligent comments on LinkedIn, follow companies you want to work with. All this information about the companies that I'm telling you, you provide updates, you see the updates from your LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is very good. Fast. My KPMG job, I was head content on LinkedIn. I didn't kind of personally apply to KPMG, that I do so much on LinkedIn, company stuff, and they actually contact me, are you interested in this business? They contacted me a few years ago, I was busy with another company, they contacted me again on LinkedIn, and I said, okay, well, I will try, I will apply, and have a conversation. My previous role before KPMG, I was head content on LinkedIn, so I got a couple of jobs from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a very good tool. If you are not registered there, register. A lot of companies actually prefer to send people on LinkedIn. So when we have a job vacancy at KPMG, our HR people post it on LinkedIn, they send emails to all of us to say, can you share across the network? Guess what? Because most companies don't want to pay recruitment companies. I remember when I was with that, recruitment companies usually charge about 15% of the annual salary. So when I use a recruitment company to recruit an organization, their fee is about 15% of the annual salary. So if you can get people directly from LinkedIn, I think about why not? So LinkedIn is a good tool to use.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause. Thank you so much. I think I learned something from you, sir. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yeah, so last week, this morning, I was very discouraged. I'm in the job market too. And I decided that, you know what, I'm not even doing any application today. I just told myself, you miss 100% of the shots you really don't take. I've got to a stage now that if you send me a rejection, I will send you an email to ask why. Two things that does is, one, it helps you build on yourself. Two, there's a possibility that probably if that space needs to be filled again, the person will reach out back to you. So shoot your shots. Don't be mute, don't be quiet, and that's one thing I've learned so far. Thank you very much, sir, for this session. I don't know if you have been blessed, but I have been so blessed. Yes, do I have a witness in the house? Yeah. So thank you so much for the gift of your time. Thank you so much, ma, for your presence. Thank you so much for being here with us. Nancy, she's looking at me like, what the hell? Okay, so quick ones. We're going to be taking offerings and announcements together. We don't have a screen here, so we can't project the account number. But if you need the account number, the ushers will wait on you with a sheet of paper that contains the account details of the church. So while we're doing that, I want to remind you that we're going to be hosting Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred Okonko on the 29th and 30th of this month in a program titled God, Ladies and Gentlemen, Married and Singles Program. It's going to be such a blessing, and we trust God that you're going to be a part of it too. Please, it's registration. The registration is really compulsory and important so that we know how to make arrangements for everybody within the house. And please endeavor to register. Yes. Also, if you're worshiping with us for the first time, okay, also if you want to give cash, there is an envelope. There are envelopes. If you're worshiping with us for the first time, can I see your hands? Wow, wow. Please, can you stand up? Can you stand up? Wow. Wow, we appreciate you. We celebrate you. I'm just going to toast you a little bit this morning, and I'm going to tell you that you're welcome to Envoy Nation. This is a place where we are operationalized by the Word, operated by the Spirit, and also operated by people who love Jesus. We've realized over time that there's some things we cannot do without you. The name of Jesus is incomplete without you. We can't spell words like beautiful without you. And there is no church without you. So we would like to have you here next week, and the week after, and the week after, because coming here today has been an answer to our prayers. We prayed for you to come, and here you are. So after the service, we would want to host you and meet with you.